what is substitution all about? Well, we know that in algebra we can find the value of an expression by replacing any letter that is given in the expression with numbers. So if you want to find the value of the expression, replace all the respective letters with their corresponding numbers. For instance, suppose we are given that A is 2 and B is 5, C is minus 4. What would the value of C squared times 3AB plus 2C be equal to, as shown? Now, since we know the value of A, B, and C, we're going to replace these letters with their corresponding numbers. So C, which is minus 4, becomes minus 4 square, and then we put our bracket 3 times the value of A, which is 2. So you can put a little dot for multiplication, or you can change, write the multiplication sign if you wish, or you can put a little bracket for multiplication like we have. So we're going to have our 2 right there times, of course, our B, which is 5. So we do that. Then we subtract, not subtract, but we're going to add 2 times the value of C. So 2 times the value of C, but C we know is minus 4. And then we have to put everything back in a bigger bracket. So the bigger bracket is from this point to that point. Then this means we are going to square minus 4. So just for you not to get it all mixed up, the negative 4 can also be done like that. Since we have a negative, we can put it in a bracket and square it. When we square a number, our answer will always be positive. We will never get a negative result. So what is negative 4 all squared? From your square table and your times table, you know that 4 squared is the same thing as negative 4 times negative 4. And so that gives a value of 16, positive 16, not negative 16. And then we can work out what we have in this bracket. Now we have 3 times 2, that's 6. And then 6 times 5, that's 30. And we also know that the order in which we multiply doesn't matter. I could even say 2 times 5, that's 10, and 10 times 3, that's 30. So I have 30 at this point, and then we write back our plus sign, and then we have 2 times minus 4, that is negative 8. So we're going to put our negative 8 like this. Now before we multiply 16 by what we have in the bracket, we're going to work out what is in the bracket first. Now we know our rule that BOM does, and we also know the BODMAS rule, and those rules will stipulate that we work out what is in the bracket first. And so 30 plus negative 8 means it's the same thing as 30 minus 8. Or if I have, let's look at it in another way. You have 30. Let's say you have 30 things and you owe 8, or let's say it's some money. Suppose you have $30 and you owe $8. After you repay the $8 that you have, or you would have owed, how much will you have remaining from 30? You guessed it right. That is the same thing as 22. So as we can see, 30 plus negative 8, where we have 2 unlike signs involved, then of course the 2 unlike signs will be overruled by the negative sign. So this is the same thing as 16 times 30 minus 8. And so 30 minus 8 is the same thing as 22. So we have 22 in our bracket, and we're going to multiply 22 by 16. And so for 22 multiplied by 16 will give us a value. But what is that value? How do we multiply that? Just a reminder, you can use your calculator at this stage to get your result. But in case you do not have your calculator, you have your 22 and you're multiplying that by 16. Of course, we know that, we're going to multiply this way, starting with the ones on our 16. We have 6 times 2. We know that is 12, so that's 2. Carry the 1 over there, and so 6 times 2, that's another 12, plus 1, that is 13. And then we're going to be multiplying by the 1, which is in the 10th column, or in the 10th column rather. And so our answer must start exactly under the 1 right here. So we're going to have 0 of a placeholder right at that point, and then we have 1 times 2, that is 2, and then 1 times 2 again, that is another 2. And then we can add these two numbers to give us the product of 16 and 22. And so 0 plus 2 we have is 2 right there. 3 plus 2, that is 5. And of course 2 plus 1, that is 3. But if you have your calculator, you wouldn't have to waste time to do all of this. You would just write down your answer, and that would be equal to 352. So as you can see, we have found the value of the expression by replacing the letters with their corresponding numbers. And that is what substitution is all about. It is very easy. All we have to do is to remember the laws of algebra. And of course, we must also remember the rules governing the product of numbers and their signs. Just to remind you, when we multiply numbers having the same sign, our answer will always be positive. And when we multiply numbers having unlike signs, our answer will always be negative. That is, positive times positive is always positive, and negative times a negative is positive, because the signs are the same. A positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive, will give us a negative result. And the same rules will also apply to division.